All right, everybody. Alex Dorr here from Georgia Gun Owners. I need to give you guys an update on what is going on in the Georgia State Capitol when it comes to the fight for our gun rights. I'm going to give it a second here for the video to go live. Please, guys, come on in. Tell me where you're watching from. If I could get some feedback as to the audio quality, just to make sure that everything is working here, I would greatly appreciate it. But guys, we have 3 days left. We have 72 hours to pass a pro-gun bill out of the Georgia legislature, or we are dead in the water for at least another year. Law-abiding gun owners are going to be opened up to all sorts of attacks from Soros-backed DAs. Guys, we need to talk about enhanced stand your ground bill and what is going on with these bills in the Georgia legislature. But tune in, guys. Tell me where you're watching from. Sorry to come to you in the middle of the afternoon, but the Senate Rules Committee is going to meet shortly, and they need to hear from you right now. If you don't have time to watch this video, if you think Georgia Gun Owners has shot straight with you for the past 15 years, just click the 2 action links in the description of this video and fire off your pre-written emails to your state senator. No, I'm sorry, to the Senate Rules Committee and the House Rules Committee, demanding that they take immediate action on SB 572 and HB 1226. Guys, I don't want this video to be terribly long. It only needs to be long enough for me to tell you what the political battlefield looks like right now in Georgia. We are 3 days away from what's called crossover, and that is where if the bill does not pass out of one of its originating chambers, the bill is dead. It's over unless the governor, the Speaker of the House, and the Lieutenant Governor take executive action to move a bill that has not made it out of crossover. So this Friday night, when the session adjourns for both the Senate and the House, we have got to see one of these bills moved out so it can pass to the next chamber, and we have till the end of session to pass this bill. And guys, I'm talking about SB 572 and HB 1226. These are GGO's bills to enhance our stand your ground law. Now, you probably think, Alex, we already have stand your ground law. Why do we need to enhance it? Well, 18 other states have already done this, and it's where you, in the state of Georgia, if you defend yourself right now in a deadly encounter, you have the lawful right to take reasonable actions to defend yourself. That's how the law reads. You can stand your ground. But the problem is radical leftist district attorneys like Fani Willis and Sherry Boston and so many others in the metro Atlanta area, they are still able to charge you with murder simply by saying, we don't think that the actions they took were reasonable. And now the burden of proof is on you, the accused, the one who just had to defend themselves, to bring evidence to prove that what you did was reasonable. That means you're going to be arrested. You're going to have your mugshot taken. You're going to be obviously taken downtown. There's going to be press stories to say that you're a murderer or accused of murder. Now you have to drain your savings account to hire a defense attorney. The list goes on and on. Think of Kyle Rittenhouse and Mark McCloskey. Guys, that is the case here in Georgia. If you defend yourself, you can still be charged with murder, and the accuser, the district attorney, does not have to bring a shred of evidence in order to charge you. That's what's wrong with Georgia's stand your ground law, and we need to fix that. There are cases all over the state of Georgia right now that are happening where this is the case. One of them down in Butts County, Aaron White case. You can go and Google that one and watch into those stories. But since we've broken about the Aaron White case and why we need this bill, and by the way, we filed this bill long before we heard of the Aaron White case, we have been inundated with phone calls where people have been accused of murder or homicide, where they have defended themselves, and they had to bring all the evidence and the defense attorneys and everything else. That's why we need to pass SB 572 and HB 1226 immediately, so that way the presumption of innocence is given back to the law-abiding gun owner, so that way we can't be charged. We're simply putting the burden on district attorneys. If you want to charge us with murder, then you have to bring evidence that we've done something wrong. But you cannot just attack us because you don't like us politically. That is the case again with Kyle Rittenhouse, Mark McCloskey, and even George Zimmerman down in Florida. These bills have been filed for weeks now. We have passed out of House Judiciary Non-Civil. We've passed out of the Senate Judiciary Committee. thanks to Brian Strickland, Senator Brian Strickland, and Representative David Clark, who have carried these bills. But now these bills are in the choke point. These bills are sitting in the rules chambers. This committee is the one who decides what bills are debated the next day. Okay, if they don't pick this bill to move it forward, the bill is dead. And that's why they need to hear from you right now. Please excuse me. So click the links above and fire off your emails to the Senate Rules Committee and the House Rules Committee. Guys, we are under attack here in Georgia. When I was testifying on behalf of Georgia gun owners on these bills, the radical left DA were swarming the committee rooms. They had their staff, they had their people, they had their lobbyists. They were applying pressure. Basically, they were whining because they were being told that they were going to have to do their jobs. Sherry Boston admitted in the Senate Judiciary Committee that so often they charge someone with murder, and then they get down to the final hour in court and they realize they don't have the evidence, so they end up dropping the charges anyway. If they don't have the evidence to convict, then they drop the charges. That's only after 2 years of being labeled as an accused murderer. Only after having spent 6 figures on a legal defense, maybe even time in jail. Very sorry about this cough. That is ridiculous, especially in a state controlled by Republicans, that we are still being allowed to be attacked by people like Sherry Boston and Fani Willis. But guys, most importantly, this is an election year. This is the time that our Republican majorities should be bending over backwards to make sure that their voter base is happy, that they have been given legislation that they want and they have demanded. So the question that you have to be asking anyone that you see out on the campaign trail is, what have you done to help lift SB 572 or HB 1226? In particular, I think you have to ask Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. Is he stonewalling this bill, or why hasn't he put this bill on the calendar, on the floor for a full debate? You know, he's in a hot primary right now, and we're very interested in this case. And people have been asking us, hey, there's this newcomer on the block. They have no voting history. Can you tell me, does Burt actually have a record that balances out, what he has done for the legislature? And, you could say, he allowed Senator Moore to pass SB 204, but this is the same lieutenant governor who gave the Democrats a study committee on gun control, put Democrats in charge of it, and had multiple meetings with the fake news media there to blast out, to the entire state that we need gun control right now. We need deadly safe storage laws. We need red flag laws. We need a ban on AR-15s. Like, this is what Burt Jones has given to the left. What has he given to us? SB 204, Senator Colton Moore's bill, was a preemption enhancement bill. The radical left was attacking us. They were charging law-abiding gun owners in Savannah for having their guns stolen and calling them the criminals and fining them $1,000. It's the least you could do is to enhance our preemption law to stop the attacks. Okay. But now we have a chance to really move the needle for gun owners with SB 572. Okay. Gun owners, I have never seen the amount of responses and pre-written emails that our members are sending out, that you guys are sending out, to the tune of 6 figures, mid-level 6 figures email support so far to the legislature demanding the passage of enhanced stand your ground bill. So this is it, guys. This is the time. You need to be watching your legislators right now as they're in office in their current roles. What have they done to protect gun owners? And why do they deserve to be rewarded with another term or a higher office if they did not fully utilize the office that they were in? I don't say this is a threat or a challenge. This is the political reality we face here in Georgia. This is a primary season. This is it. This is the time to shine, to show people where you stand on these issues. And if you don't deliver on a bill as simple as defending law-abiding gun owners who have defended their own lives from being attacked by radical DAs, well, I mean, what good are you? Guys, fire off your emails right now to the State Senate Committee, to the Senate Rules Committee and the House Rules Committee, and demand that they put both of these bills on the floor for a full debate and pass them so they can go to Governor Kemp and be signed into law. It is ridiculous that even states like Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, we all know that leans more lefty than it does right. And even California have the exact same presumption of innocence language in their self-defense laws, but we don't have that here in Georgia. So far, the only people complaining about this are radical prosecutors who don't want to do their job and like being able to charge law-abiding gun owners who have the audacity to fight back against the left's criminal element that seems to just follow around their districts. You had the audacity to fight back. How dare you? You're going to be charged with murder. And, I know of one case right now down in Henry County where a guy is serving 10 years on a manslaughter charge because he had to plead out because he didn't have the evidence to prove his innocence. But at the same time, the DA didn't have evidence to prove his guilt, but the burden of proof is placed on him in Georgia law currently. That is ridiculous. Tyler says, I have sent so many emails to these folks. Georgia Gun Owners needs to daily carry, folks. You need to pass this. Absolutely. Guys, thank you, Tyler, for all the emails you sent, but don't stop. There is no reason to stop. There is no reason to take your foot off the gas. You can send as many emails as you want. You can even call their district offices if you want and tell them to take action on these bills as well. Because I tell you guys, with all honesty, right now, that building is swarming with lobbyists with their hands out and offering their hands out and vice versa and back and forth. But the one thing that they complain about the most when they talk to me is your members will not stop emailing me. That is serious pressure. That is the only pressure that politicians listen to. So take action, Tyler. Thank you for the emails you have sent, but keep sending them. These are new email links. We've freshened them up. We have new copy. These are going to go right to the inboxes of all the Rules Committee members. They need to hear from you guys as fast as possible. Again, we're down to 3 days. 3 days, and then this opportunity to protect gun owners is gone, at least until next year, if not longer, if the radical left is able to take the House chamber or the governor or whatever else. This is our opportunity while we still have a Republican trifecta to make sure that we are protected no matter what happens this November. And it is ridiculous, in our opinion, that the Republicans in control are not fighting for us, but rather they're trying to maintain their power by selling off little pieces of it, thinking it will appease the left. Honestly, I mean, anyone that claims to be endorsed or supported by Donald Trump clearly haven't watched his tactics since his first term and now his second term. The man has never maintained his power by giving any of it up to the radical left. He just continues to dole out the wins for the base so they continue to love and support him. And I think everyone in the Georgia legislature in Atlanta could certainly learn something from that. Stop giving away the power that we gave you with our votes to appease the left, thinking that they're going to let you keep control. They're never going to vote for you. They're never going to not vote against you. Stop trying to satisfy them and protect the law-abiding gun owners here in Georgia. That is the update. I will keep you guys informed as things change. I know the Senate Rules Committee is supposed to meet in the next little bit as soon as they get off the Senate floor. Fill up their inboxes right now. Fire off your email. Share that link with your spouse, with your children, your adult children, with your shooting buddies, with the people from church. If you want to defend yourself from a radical district attorney or prosecutor, we have got to pass Senate Bill 572 or HB 1226. Lastly, big shout out to Senator Brian Strickland for carrying this bill in the Senate, as well as State Representative David Clark for carrying this bill in the House. They have both been instrumental in working their tails off to make sure this bill got through the committee process, but now it's on the Rules Committee's backs. And we have to be loud for them, and we have to be louder than the opposition and demand action. That's it for now. As I have more information, I'll certainly come right